Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Selah. I thank you all for joining today. I thank you all for clicking this episode and tuning in. Truly, it's amazing to be in the presence of God and be talking about Him. And so I thank you guys for pressing on the link. I thank you all for pressing on that button and tuning in to this episode of Selah. I wanted to thank God for this platform and thank Him for what He's doing here and what He's achieved truly through us and through this platform. It's very important to see that He's working in our lives, even if it's one ponder at a time, one Selah at a time. Just going through these episodes, it truly has helped me, and I pray and hope that it's helped you and helped anyone, even if it's one person, through the Word of God and through the pondering and the reciting of His Word and what He has for us. And so I want to encourage all of you guys to press the like button and subscribe and share and comment and a ringer so that you can receive any notification of new episodes that come out, and press that subscribe so you can receive all the old episodes and the new episodes, and you can just come on and ponder and go back to it, and whatever the Lord leads you to do, please do so. And without further ado, I just wanted to get into this episode today. And yeah, so what I wanted to talk about today is obedience. Like, y'all know when when we was kids and we're given rules and we're given something to do, we're given like a task, or we're told what not to do. All of a sudden we get this rush to go and do exactly that. We're given this rush to go and do exactly what they told us not to do. Right? Y'all ever felt that? And like, it's like we get this urge to be on a mission to go and see for ourselves. I'm like, I'm gonna see for myself. When you're given a rule, or like, especially in school, like when they tell you like, oh, don't run in the hallways, all of a sudden all you want to do and all you're craving to do is to run in the hallways. All you want to do is to run in the hallways. And you're just like, all of a sudden you're on a mission. Like, you're on a mission to go and do exactly that. Like, your parents told you not to touch the stove. All of a sudden, all you want to do all day is to touch the stove. You want to test it out for yourself. You want to see what happens if you do touch the stove. You want to see what happens if you do run in the hallways. And so I wanted to talk about just that, like how obedience is hard, because our body normally reacts to it in the sense of, I want to try that, whatever it is they're telling me not to do. Why are you telling me not to do that? I want to see what the reason is behind that. I just want to test it. I just want to see for myself. Like, let me just get a taste of what it is that you're showing me, because it can't be that bad. It really cannot be that bad. And so true obedience, I realized that true obedience isn't proven by comfort. True obedience is not proven by comfort because it's not convenient, right? And God is really asking us in the midst of obedience, He's asking us, will you trust me even if I touch what you treasure? If I remove the things that you treasure, will you still trust me? Like Job. If I cause this thing to not go your way, or to cause this, or remove this thing, or tell you to go this way where you don't want to go, if I ask you to give me this, will you still trust me? Even if it's something that you really treasure and you really want, will you still trust me? If I tell you no to that prayer request that you've been asking me for, will you still trust me? And it's hard because it's surrender, it's sacrifice. It's hard and it hurts sometimes because surrenderance is hard. Sacrifice is hard because you're giving up something. You're giving up something, especially something that you really want, or you really treasure, or you're really fond of. It's hard because you have to give up your deepest desire. You're giving up something that you really want. You're giving up something or a direction that you really want. But um the painful reality about obedience is that it involves suffering and sacrifice. Like I was saying, it involves a surrender. It involves actually heeding to the will of God and healing to the plans of God and healing to the things that God wants you to do and the direction in which He wants you to move. And so obedience will always cost something. No matter what way you put it, no matter how you put it, obedience will always cost something. Small or big, it will always cost something, whether that's your comfort, whether that's your timeline, whether that's your pride or your plans. And heavy on the plans, because as God was revealing this to me, He was revealing it in terms of my plans. Because if anybody knows me, they know they know that I I like to have everything color coded, everything planned. This month is planned, next month is planned, the month after that is planned, all the way till 2026 is planned. It's planned out, it's thought out, everything that I want to do, doctor's appointments, bills, meetings, everything. Car going to change my oil for the next couple of weeks. It's aligned to how I planned it to be. I have certain things that's aligned, like events. I have parties, celebrations. I have dates blocked out for certain travels or certain things. It's blocked out and it's sitting in my calendar in color code. And so because I plan my life out in that way, God was really highlighting obedience to me in the ways of my plans. Because God essentially most of the time really says no when it's a plan that I have, because sometimes my plans that I have are outside of God's will. They're outside of what he outside of what he wants me to do and where he wants me to go. And it's just like what the Bible tells us in Proverbs 19:21, where it says there's many are the plans in a man's heart. Many are the plans in Ishimwe's heart. In my heart. I'm gonna make it personal. Many are the plans in my heart, but God will order the steps. If I'm doing anything outside of God, He's gonna say no. And my job is to be obedient to His no. So many are the plans that I may have for myself, but He's the one who orders my steps. If I'm obedient and surrendered to Him, He's the one who orders my steps. And my problem is I really struggle with that mindset of I'm a see for myself. And my friend Janvier would tell y'all. She she used to tell me how because she knows how I plan everything out. And she also is the type of person that will give me advice. And she always says that I have the mentality to always be like, I'm gonna see for myself. She'll give me advice and I'm always like, I'm gonna see for myself, or I'm gonna check that out for myself. Or she will tell me, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. And I'm like, I would see. And I always have that mindset of like, I want to see for myself. Maybe not always. I'm working on it, guys, because not everything you need to see. You don't need to learn from experience all the time. You don't need to fail for you to see that you shouldn't have done it. But for me, my mindset was always like, it can't be that bad. Like what you're saying is gonna happen if I do this can't be that bad. Running through the hallway cannot be that bad. Maybe I might hurt an ankle or something, but it's gonna be fun. Or maybe touching the stove, it can't be that bad. Because why are you telling me not to touch the stove? What was the reason? Is it gonna leave a scar? Like, why are you telling me not to do that? I wanna know for myself. And I want to test it out and see for myself. And that was always my mindset. But Ishimwe, not everything needs to be tested out. You do not need to go and see for yourself. Sometimes when God tells you not to go there, you shouldn't go there. You should not take that step and go there. But like I said, the Bible tells us in Proverbs that many are the plans, many are the things that we want to do, many are the desires in our hearts. But God should be the one who orders our steps. He should be the one who has the final say in what we do, in where our life goes, in the direction that we walk, in the path that we walk in. He should be the one who has the last say, especially if we are surrendered to His will. And obviously, sacrifice is not convenient. Surrendering is not convenient. Walking in the path of God is not convenient, because as humans, we have our own path that we have planned out for ourselves. We have things that we have set out for ourselves to do, set out for ourselves to really achieve, set out for ourselves to become. We have certain things that we want for ourselves. We have things that we want to achieve, and the way that we want to get there. We have the way that we want to get there. We have the path that we want to go to get there. We have the route already planned out. Like me, I have the route already planned out. Before I started college, I had the route planned out. I knew I was going to do freshman year, study this, study that, go to law school. All of a sudden, I'm studying business and I'm doing IT. Like, I had it planned out. My bad. I had it planned out. I knew exactly how I wanted to do it. I knew exactly what path I wanted to go. All of a sudden, I wanted to be in for 4 years. All of a sudden, I'm in for 5, and I'm studying a whole different subject. Because God aligned certain things in a different way. He had a different plan. His plans are greater than my plans, and his ways are greater than my ways. So who am I? Who am I to say something? I don't know. Who am I? I really can't. I can't argue with you, God. You got it. You got it, big dog. Hands up, don't shoot. You feel me? Because his plans are not like, I can't compete with that. Especially if I want to surrender to his will, my plans are going to start changing. They're going to start abiding to him. They don't abide to me. My life and my fate don't abide to me because he's the author and finisher of my fate. He's the author and finisher of my fate. But like I said, sacrifice is not convenient. Like, for example, offering, right? Sacrifice is not convenient because you're giving something away. Like offering, right? For me, I used to, and sometimes if I'm being transparent, still struggle with giving offering with a joyful heart because I know that I'm giving something up. I know that I'm giving an amount away because now I have to figure out how I'm going to maneuver my finances after, especially when I don't got it. There'll be times where I don't have it, but I still have to give it. Like the woman at the well who had nothing, but she gave everything that she had. And God said she's greater in the kingdom because she gave everything that she had. And so for me, whenever I feel like I'm giving all that I have, I'm like, God, how am I going to live? And it's become so hard to trust it because, God, my balance is at like -5 now. How am I supposed to, But it'd be hard to give with a cheerful heart because I know that I'm giving something away. It's like the mindset that I have now whenever I think about offering, to just like to remember it in God's way, is that I'm giving him back what's his. Just like in the temple when the people asked Jesus, should we pay taxes? They were trying to trip him up with that question. They asked him, should we pay taxes? And Jesus said, give me the coin. And he showed them whose face was on the coin. He said, this coin belongs to Caesar. So give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but give to God what belongs to God. And so in saying that, he's saying what you have, what you've been given already belongs to God. So give him what belongs to him and give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So if everything that God has given me belongs to God, he gave it to me. It doesn't belong to me just because I'm in possession of it. It still belongs to him. Everything is his. The trees will worship his name. The rocks will worship his name. Everything on earth is his creation. He made it. Even myself, I'm his creation. So that's why he calls us the living sacrifice. We're supposed to give ourselves as a living sacrifice. And so when I think about offering, I'm like, okay, I have to remember that this money that I've worked for, though it's just like taxes, like, dang, you taking my hard-earned money, but they're the ones who paid you. They're the ones who gave you the money. Though you worked for it, they paid you the money. So the money really has George Washington and Abraham Lincoln's face on it. So you need to give it back to the people that owns that money. You don't make the money. They make the money. So they're going to take it back because it belongs to them. And so with God, God made everything. God created everything. So you give back to him what belongs to him. It's not like a take backsy thing, but when we hold on to the things and we don't want to give sacrifices, we're basically telling God, like, it's mine and it belongs to me, rather than giving it to him and surrendering to the person who it belongs to and giving it back to him. And we have this mindset of like take backsies, no take backsies like we used to do as kids. Oh, you can't take it back. You can't take it back. But that being said, I wanted us to read the story in Genesis. It's a long passage, but I wanted to read Genesis 22 verses 1 through 14. Genesis 22 verse 1 through 14. It's a long passage, guys, so follow along with me. So it says, now it came to pass after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, here I am. Then he said, take now your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him and Isaac his son. And he split the wood from the burnt offering and arose and went to the place of which God has told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw a place afar off. And Abraham said to his young men, stay here with the donkey, the lad, and I will go yonder and worship, and we will come back to you. So Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and and the two of them went together. But Isaac spoke to Abraham his father and said, "My father." He said, "Here I am, my son." Then he said, "Look, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" And Abraham said, "My son, God will provide for himself a lamb for a burnt offering." For the two of them went together. So the two of them went together. Then they came to a place which God had told him, and Abraham built an altar there and placed the wood in order, and he bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Isaac stretched out his hand and took his knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called out to him from the heavens and said, "Abraham, Abraham." So he said, "Here I am." And he said, "Do not lay a hand on that lad or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear the Lord, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Then Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and looked and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the place, "The Lord will provide," Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, "In the mount of the Lord it shall be provided." Amen. This story is so powerful, and there's so many key things to take from it. I'm not going to lie. But in the story of Abraham and Isaac and the offering, the first thing that comes to mind is that obedience often comes before understanding. Obedience often comes before understanding. Abraham didn't understand why God was asking him to give. Mind you, God had promised him that he was going to give him a son, that he was going to give. This was the promise. Isaac was the fulfilled promise of God. Isaac was the promise that God had gave him, said that, "I'm going to multiply your people and I'm going to do it through your first son." Even though he was old, he gave birth to Isaac. And so for God to ask me to give him this promise that he had told me, that he had promised me and given me himself, and then say, "Hey, give it back to me, kill it." What do you mean, God? What do you mean? Hold on, wait a minute. What do you mean go and slay my son? Me personally, I would have been like, "Wait, hold on. Wait a minute now. Can we talk about this? Like, can we have a conversation? Can I plead on it on my behalf? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, can we talk about that? Can we have a conversation? Because what do you mean by that? Right? This is my only son, the one that you promised me that I was gonna have. Did you promise me to have this son so that I can go and kill him? So that you can take him back? Like, what was the point?" But Abraham saddled his donkey and left. He did not question nothing. He got up and left. And this is very important because Abraham is known as the father of faith. The father of faith, the man who really trusted and had faith in God. This man, of course, he's going to saddle his donkey and go. This man saddled his donkey and went, took wood and cut it in half for the burnt offering, had the fire ready and everything, went up to the mountain, tied his son up. Even his son asked him, "Where's the offering?" He said, "God's going to provide." While saying God is going to provide, he's still working in obedience, still believing that God is going to make a way where it seemed like there was no way. He's tying him up, putting him on the altar, about to sacrifice him. In this story, he's told to go and he goes, leaves everything and he does. And here we see that Abraham is given little to no instruction. Little to no instruction. He said, "Take your son as a burnt offering that I have given to you." And whom you love. So God knew the love that he had for his son Isaac, but he still told him to go and do it. And he said, "I'm going to go to this land up the mountain in which I'm going to instruct you." So before he even left, he had little to no instruction on what he was going to do, where he was going to go, how this was going to work, when this was going to work. None of that. Obedience requires walking without details, guys. This is real obedience. Obedience isn't when God is going to tell you the beginning, middle, and end and how it's going to happen and the details of which. No, it's him saying go and you saddle your donkey and go. Even though it hurts, I know it must have hurted Abraham. It must have hurt him to really think like, "Dang, I got to go and kill my son. I got to go and kill my son." Obedience hurts, guys. Because God, what do you mean by that? What do you mean kill my son? But he was given little to no details. But he was trusting that the revelation will meet him in motion. And it did. He went, and then God told him what mountain to go on. He went up the mountain. And then all of a sudden, a voice from the heavens came. And I know this is scary. It can be scary. Obedience is so scary. It really is. And but we if obedience is scary. It really is. And when I'm just thinking about like where Abraham's mind would have been just thinking about this, just knowing that he's about to go and sacrifice his son. He about to go give him up for sacrifice. But I realized that if you wait to understand, you will never move, because God is not going to wait for you to understand. He told you, he gave you the instruction to go, and he's expecting you to go. He's not going to wait for you to understand. So if you're going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting for you to understand the reason why you're doing this, you're never going to move. You're never going to obey. You're never going to obey. And so faith starts when explanation and expectations stop. When you stop just having these color-coded expectations for God, having these color-coded expectations for how God is going to work in your life and how God is going to move and how God is going to do this and how God is going to do that, that's when faith is going to start making sense. See, obedience is always tested because we always stray. Because we always stray from the path of God, because we always stray from the purpose that he's given us, because we always stray and make an idol of the promise that he's given us, he tests our obedience, he tests our faith. And in this story with Abraham, Abraham waited for Isaac for years. If we think about the promise that Isaac actually was, we have to remember the story of Isaac and Abraham and Sarah and Ishmael and Hagar. We have to remember that Isaac was a waited promise from God. This is a promise that God said, I'm going to fulfill my generations through you. I'm going to build my people through you. And this is the promise that I'm going to give you. So Abraham waited for Isaac for years, but God had to test whether he loved the promise more than the promiser. And so you realize in the story, God said, take your son, whom you love, and give him to me. And as we were reading here in one of the verses, the angel said to God and said, since you have not withheld your son, your only son from me, since you didn't say, no take back seats, this is mine, it belongs to me, and you didn't hold on to it and say, oh God, I deserve it, it's all mine, ooh, as a kid does. I've provided something else. I've provided a sacrifice for you, and you don't have to give your son up. And so God was testing whether Abraham was going to love the promise more than he loved the promiser. Obedience isn't just about hearing, it's about doing. Abraham didn't just hear that God said, "Oh, do this for me," or he didn't just hear, "Oh, go here," or "do this," and he just sat there and waited to understand it. No, he heard it and he did it. He saddled his his donkey. He saddled his child. He took a couple men with him, and he was ready to go and do whatever God told him to do, because the promiser is higher than the promise. He's the one who gave you the promise. So how can you put the promise above him? How? Of course his logical thinking was probably like, I can't put the promise that he gave me above him, even if it's my son, my only son. He said, you didn't withhold him from me. I asked for him and you gave him. Though he's the one that I gave you, I asked for him and you gave him. So he realized that when he didn't lose Isaac, he was reminded, when you surrender to God, God multiplies. Whatever it is that you surrender to him, he multiplies it. Because you see that he gave Isaac as a sacrifice, but the generations came through Isaac. He multiplied Isaac's line. He multiplied his line through Isaac. The sacrifice that he was going to give God, that he gave God, God multiplied it. And that's the lesson in this as well, that God multiplies as the sacrifice that you give him through obedience. Through obedience, he will multiply your sacrifice. And so here as well, it reminds me that provision and intimacy is found on the other side of obedience. It wasn't until Abraham was about to sacrifice the son, that he saw the lamb that God had provided instead of Isaac. It wasn't until he was going to do it that God provided something else in return. It's through obedience that God provides. It's through obedience that we find intimacy to God. Jehovah Jireh is found on the other side of obedience. Is finding on the other side of obedience. He didn't see the lamb that God was going to give instead of Isaac until he obeyed, until he was in the act. He was probably like up here like this, and the angel called him right in the split of the second, and then he told him there's another sacrifice that you're going to give instead. And some of God's provisions are hidden where obedience takes you. It's hidden in the places where obedience will take you. Some of us won't be provided in the broad daylight. Some of our provisions and the things that God will provide, the promises that are going to be fulfilled in the places that you will get through the obedience. You won't see it where you're at right now. Once you obey and you walk according to the walk that God has given you, then you get to the promise, you get to the provision, you get to the things that God has already in store for you to receive because you have obeyed. Every yes draws you closer to the heart of God. God calls you, and your job is to say yes. And your yes is going to lead you closer to God's heart. It will always lead you closer to God's heart, and it should lead you closer to God's heart. It was in this testing that God knew that this man is really after my heart. This man is after my plans and will for him, and after my promise for him, and after my love for him. And so even in thinking about that, Abraham met a new version of God on the mountain. Abraham met Jehovah Jireh on the mountain, the God that provides. Though he knew God was powerful, he knew God was loving, he knew God was faithful to perform, but he didn't know God. He didn't know Jehovah Jireh, and that's why he named the place God will provide, the God that provides. And he named that mountain that. And so here, my biggest thing that I always take from this story actually is that God the thing is, we always question God. We always question if we can trust God or whether we should trust God. And we have a hard time trusting God. But truly, sometimes we should be asking ourselves, can God trust you? Can God trust me to fulfill what he has sent me out to do? Can God trust me to say yes when he asks me to do something? Can God trust me, like when I know I can depend on her to go and do what I'm sending her out to do? I know that she's faithful. I know that she has faith in my promise, so I know that she will do as I'm asking her to do. Can God really trust you with his plans? Can he trust you with his promise? Can he trust you to be the holder of the generations to come? Can he trust you to spread his word so that his people are saved? It's not always about whether we can trust God, but sometimes we have to ask ourselves, can God trust us to do what he's asking us to do? Because this walk with God is not just about receiving the things from God and him doing all these things for us, but truly, can we do for God? When he sends us out, will we go? When he sends us out, will we saddle our donkey and go regardless of where we're going, even if we don't understand? That's the real question. Can God really trust us to come through for him? Can God trust us to do what he's asking us to do? Can he trust us with this? And it'd be scary sometimes. Sacrifice is scary. Surrender is scary. Giving ourselves is scary, especially when we're supposed to give ourselves as a living sacrifice onto the throne of God. Especially when we're supposed to come to him as like, God, I don't understand the full plan that you have for my life. I don't understand where this is going, but I trust you. I trust you. And so I'm going to give it to you and have your way. Whether you provide a lamb or not, whether you provide a sacrifice in place of it or not, or whether I have to kill my Isaac, I trust you. Whether or not I have to kill this, I'm going to obey, even if I don't understand. Even if I don't understand why you're taking my son, I'm going to trust you. One thing that I realized is that God was testing whether, and I said this before, God was testing whether Isaac was an idol for Abraham. He was testing whether Abraham was going to put that promise above him. And sometimes, and very often, and that's my problem, I tend to I put the promise over God. I even put my purpose above God too sometimes, above what God really needs me to do. I put the purpose above him. He sent me out to start this business. I hyper focus on that. Even though I don't take every plan in that thing to him, I hyper focus on the promise. I hyper focus on what it is that God has sent me out to do and the promise that he has given me that will happen. And I I I kind of like hyper focus on that and I start idolizing it and putting it above God. I have such expectations for this because God gave it to me. It's going to flourish. It's going to go up there. It's going to do this and it's going to do that. God wants to test whether we're going to put his promise above him or whether we're going to trust him even if we don't understand why he's telling us to do certain things. It could be that God gave you this business. God told you to start this business, but then he tells you to stop doing it. He tells you to give it up. He tells you don't do it no more. Stop. But then we don't even understand why he's doing that. Why are you telling me to give up the business? You are the one who told me to start it. Why are you telling me to stop doing it? Or he tells you to start this ministry. He tells you to go to preach to this person or befriend this person, but then he says, let them go. He says, go. I have an opposite, a different direction that I need you to go. Go there instead. And we don't understand it. And we're like, God, what the heck? What do you mean? What do you mean? You just told me to start it. I just started it about a year ago. And it's flourishing too. It's making money. It's doing big things. It's reaching so many people. But God said, stop. God said, give it to me. God said, surrender it. I don't want you doing that anymore. And he gives you a different direction for you to go. And we get very confused and we're like, God, what do you mean? You told me to start this. How can you tell me to go opposite? Abraham's probably like, you gave me this child. He was just born a couple years ago. After everything we've been through to get this son, the years that we've waited, the promise that would seem like it wasn't going to come. What do you mean give him up? What do you mean kill him? Matter of fact, it's not even like telling him to or giving him to somebody else. He's telling him to take his life. To give him as an offering, a literal offering, like the things that they used to do back in the day where they put them on the fire, like they put them on the actual fire, like a stove, like type stuff, and they put them on the fire. God is telling him to put him on the fire like he's an animal and to kill him for his God. And he did. Y'all, and I really want to grow in the faith as Abraham did because he really obeyed God to the fullest. And not just that, even before Isaac came, Abraham was the man that was known to pick up and go as God said to go. God would say, go to this land, and he'll not even go to this land, but leave everything and go, and I will tell you what land I need you to go to. And he will leave everything and go. Even though you don't know where he's going, he don't know where he's gonna go, but he will go, leave everything, drop everything and go. And I really strive, and me personally, I really strive to really one day get to that point where I have true dependency, true faith, a true obedience to God, to the point where I know, God, you know what? I may not understand it right now, but I trust you. I may not get why I need to go here or where I'm even going, but I trust you. Obedience is gonna hurt. It would have hurt, like grief is a big thing. It would have hurted him to lose his son, knowing that he's the one who killed him. And God's the one who took him away as well. The anger that would have probably been towards God, at least on my end, the way I operate, I would have been so angry. I would have been so hurt. I would have been so mad. This is my son you're telling me to give away. But the obedience trumped all of those feelings. The obedience to the Lord, because God is the one who it says God giveth and God would take away. Same with Job. When Job lost everything, God is the one who gave him all those things. And so when he lost it, he still worshiped the Lord. He still fell to his knees and worshiped God. So in the midst of it, I know Abraham was probably hurting, but regardless, he still saddled his donkey and left. He still saddled his donkey and went. He said, regardless of whether I understand it or not, I'm going to move. And like I was saying before, if we wait until we understand it, we will never move. If we wait until we understand why God is telling us this, we're never going to go. We're never going to move. Amen. But I just wanted to close off there. And I wanted to, that leads me to just the Selah question. And this was really This was really a message, guys. Like, I really think that God was really talking to me. I hope he was talking to y'all too, but he was really talking to me because there's so many things that I think in my life that I allow to become more than he is, and hold a higher place than he does, or even if it's for a split second, or especially if he's the one who sent me out to do it, because I do everything with my whole heart. I try to do everything with everything that I have, like my everything, especially when I'm planning something or it's something that I've had in my mind and God says give me the yes and he gives me the go to do it. I tend to put it so high up. I tend to make, you can even say idolize it, because I want it to be perfect. I want it to look a certain way. I want it to be like this. And I know if God was to tell me to give up certain things that I have right now or I'm doing right now, it would be a hard, I'm praying and hoping that it will be a yes. But it will be a very hard fought yes. It will be a hard fought, you know what, God, you got it. It will be hard because it's like, as humans, we, it's so hard. Like I said, we just want to do the opposite. Like, God tells you don't do that. It's like, dang, God, but like it looks so good. It looks so pleasing. Like it looks, dang, what you mean? But all jokes aside though, like it's painful. It's painful to go the opposite way of which you want to go. And then putting it onto the fact that you're going that direction because God said to. It's very hard. But like I said, this leads me into the Selah question of today. And I just wanted to leave us with this as I finish up and as I close out is, am I willing to obey God even when it hurts and even when I don't know the why yet? Am I willing to obey God? And that goes back to me as well. Am I willing to give up the things that I have right now? Like, if I was to put everything that I have in the line and be like, if God told me to give up all of this, would I be willing to? Would I be like, okay, God, you got it? And how long would it take me to saddle my donkey and go to that mountain? How hard would it be? Not just how hard would it be a yes? Am I willing to obey God even if it hurts, even if it seems hard, and even if I don't understand why yet, if I don't understand what the reason behind it is? But anyways, with that Selah question, I pray that that pondering really hits everybody and really causes you to really think about it, because I'm really thinking about it, and I want us to just go through the week and really ponder on that and really examine ourselves and ask God and pray to God to examine us as well and give us the strength like Abraham had, and give us the faith, the strength of Abraham's faith, because that man had to be strong. What he did here, that's strength in God right there. That's the strength of the Holy Spirit. Because boy, if it was, I don't want to say if it was me, I'd do opposite, but like the man, no hesitation, the next morning he picked up his donkey and left. I wonder what Sarah had to say. Anyways, yeah, I have to ask myself, am I willing to do as Abraham did for the faith? Am I willing to do that for Christ? Am I? I really don't. Like, that's really something to really ponder on and sit and think about. And really, as we're examining ourselves and doing self-reflection, to really think about that and think about it. But anyways, that's it for me in my yap session. That's all I have for you guys today. And I know it be seeming like I be talking for like just a short amount of time, but I know y'all be like, dang, she's still talking. But but I thank you all for coming on this journey with me in this yap session today and this pondering of today's session. I thank you all, and may God bless each and every single one of you guys. That was it for me. I love you guys, but God loves you more. Bye.